live stream by UST College of Education YouTube channel. Let us acknowledge that we are in the loving and holy presence of our Lord as we pray the CBCP prayer for teachers, which will be followed by the Philippine National Anthem. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, proclaimed October 5 to be World Teachers' Day in 1994, celebrating the great step made for teachers on October 5, 1966, when a special intergovernmental conference convened by UNESCO in Paris adopted the UNESCO ILO recommendation concerning the status of teachers in cooperation with the International Labour Organization. With the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goal 4 on education and the dedicated target SDG 4C, recognizing teachers as key to the achievement of the Education 2030 Agenda, WTD has become the occasion to mark progress and reflect on ways to counter the remaining challenges for the promotion of the teaching profession. World Teachers Day is co-convened in partnership with UNICEF, the International Labour Organization, and Education International. This year's UNESCO World Teachers Day theme is Teachers, Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. This recognizes the role of teachers as a frontliner in addressing the challenges of the ever-changing times specifically the COVID-19 pandemic. The National Teachers Month, or NTM, held from September 5 to October 5, is a movement led by Metrobank Foundation Incorporated, the Department of Education, or DepEd, and various multi-sectoral groups which recognize Filipino teachers and educators and their contribution in shaping the country's future through the My Teacher, My Hero campaign. The overall idea of the National Teachers Month celebrations is to engage the nation in joining the celebrations by bringing out the Teachers' Day festivities from schools and into the public sphere. Since 2011, the National Teachers Month movement has gained momentum, beginning with the Presidential Proclamation 242, which formally declared the period from September 5 to October 5 of every year as National Teachers Month. In 2016, the movement reached a milestone with the enactment of the Republic Act 10743, official designating October 5 of every year as National Teachers Day, the culminating event of the National Teachers Month celebrations. National Teachers Month intensifies its campaign to foster a culture of appreciation among the country's heroes and heroines in the classrooms by engaging the public, as well as various sectors, to recognize the Filipino teachers' service and contribution to national development. National Teachers Month aims to engage the public in appreciating the contributions of Filipino teachers and nobility of the teaching profession. Gurong Pilipino para sa batang Filipino. This year's NTM stresses the crucial role, commitment, and dedication of teachers in the delivery of education to young Filipinos, especially amidst the pandemic. The UST College of Education, a center of excellence in teacher education, joins UNESCO and the Department of Education in giving due recognition to teachers and educators through this Knowledge Exchange Series, World Teachers Day 2020, a celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator. This event aims to affirm the honor and prestige due every teacher and the teaching profession, relate the concept of success in the professional flight path of teachers, and value the joys of being a teacher and the teaching profession. May I now call on the ever-dynamic and highly supportive Dean of the College of Education, Associate Professor Pilar I. Romero, LPT PhD, for her welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Erlyn. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, my dear teachers. Good morning to our esteemed guests. And good morning, most especially to future educators, our learners. Today, we celebrate what is called the noblest of professions, teaching. This is a widely accepted truth. But I would like to add more vibrance to our engagement by emphasizing that teaching is more than a profession. I would like to invite you to reimagine teaching both as a ministry and a mission. Teaching is a form of creative ministry. That is, it is mediated through dialogue and encounter. It is not simply transmitting knowledge from the teacher's head to the learner's head. It is dialogue. It is encounter. In this encounter, we see the learner not simply as a future professional, but as a change agent, committed in building a just, fraternal, peaceful, and egalitarian world. Teaching is not simply a profession. In this pandemic, in this world that we call a VUCA world, a vulnerable, a complicated, and ambiguous world, teaching ceases simply to be work. It is a mission. Our university, most especially as the Catholic University of the Philippines, is a mission-driven university. This means that our goal is not simply to manufacture materials that will feed the managerialist tendencies of industry. That is not our goal. Our goal is for our graduates to bring to their workplace, to schools, universities, learning institutions, not only their minds and their hands, not only their intellect and their skills, but most importantly, they have to bring with them their heart so that their engagements become opportunities to show empathy and compassion. Dear teachers, as we celebrate World Teachers Day, I would like to emphasize and remind all of us that we are all missionaries. We are not simply facilitators of learning. We are our learners' companions. And when we say companions, it is a word that comes from two words, companis. To be a companion is to break bread with our learners, to see them not only as individuals, but as persons with longings, persons with goals, and persons full of hope and potentials. We break bread with them so that when they themselves become teachers, they too will live to the full their being creative ministers and missionaries. With these thoughts, I would like once again to greet you. Good morning, and may we all have a meaningful dialogue and encounter today. God bless all of us.
Thank you very much, Dean Romero, for the very inspiring message. Indeed, teaching is more than a profession, it is a mission. Yeah, so for those who are listening and viewing us, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share it with your friends, especially your fellow educators. Knowledge Exchange Series World Teachers Day 2020, a celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator, is the first of the Knowledge Exchange Series webinars for this school year. Through this event, it is deemed that both pre-service and in-service teachers will gain significant insights and intersections of significant experiences vis-a-vis golden nuggets of wisdom that will kindle and keep aflame their love, competence, commitment, and compassion as agents of positive change in the world. Let us now listen to the significant life experiences of our invited teachers that celebrate the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator. Our first speaker is a special educator itinerant who graduated with a degree Bachelor of Elementary Education, Special Education major in the year 2018. Let us all welcome, with a big round of applause, Miss Jeline Trinidad, LPT.
Good morning. First of all, I want to say thank you to Ma'am Barami and Ma'am Vicente for having me here. I do public speaking before, but I'm actually physically present. This time it's something new. I'm in front of my camera talking. I don't actually see my audience, but I think it's new to everyone and it's good that we're adjusting and coping with the new normal. So today is very important. We're celebrating the World Teachers Day. I think I realized that it's a good reminder for everyone that this day is not just all about giving gifts, roses, or cakes, or even sing a short song to our advisors or teachers like we used to do back in college. It's a perfect reminder, especially to the students, that to be simply being there, simply being present, simply saying thank you or greet your professors is already a big thing, especially right now. We're in a very tough time. Saying thank you will remind us that we're doing something great and the students still believe in us. So I'm here today to share a few things that I've learned for the past 2 years. Just to give you a short background, I'm currently an itinerant teacher. It means I go from one place to another to teach. I'm not working in any public or private school. Basically, my students' home is our school. My students' room is our classroom. I'm on my third year right now. I'm gonna share a few things that I've learned for the past 2 years. It's not much because honestly, until now, I still feel like I'm a fresh graduate. I still feel like that I'm a fresh graduate because I'm still hungry for more. I'm still hungry to experience more. I'm still hungry to experience lots of things. So the first thing that I realized when I started working is that I have to allow myself to relearn everything that I learned back in college. It's not that I didn't learn anything from my professors. It's just that I'll be very honest. Back in college, I only have four goals. First, I just want to pass all my courses. Second, I just want to finish my degree. Next, I just want to get my diploma. And last, I just want to start working. I'll be very honest. I'm sure all the students, we have the same goal right now. And the first thing that I realized is I have to start learning again because when you start working, when you have your own classroom, when you have your own set of students already, you'll come up with these goals, dreams, and hopes. But this time, it's not for you. This time, it's not about you anymore. It's about your students. You want this kid to learn how to read. You want this kid to learn how to write. You want this kid to learn how to share. You want this kid to learn how to take turns. These are just the simple goals that you want or you'll come up for your student. And when the student needs me, all I want is to face them well prepared. All I want is to equip myself such knowledge, such experience to ensure that I can help them. Because we have to always remember that when we're helping a student, we're not just helping them. We're also helping the parents. When you're a sped teacher, you're not just helping the students or the parents. You're also helping the doctors, the therapists. So I want to be successful, but I don't want to be successful alone. I want to be successful with my students. And for me to do that, I have to relearn everything. I need to learn lots of things to other teachers as well. I have to go extra mile for me to learn the best so I can give the best for my student. So that's number one. Second, I learned it the hard way that I came with so much frustration, so many doubts before I realized that progress is not linear. Someone told me that life is not linear, which I totally believe in. I'm sure all the students right now, all the teachers right now are into online learning. Some students, some college students, let's be honest, that there are days that you just don't want to listen to your professors. There are days that you just don't want to do your homeworks, your essays, your petas. There are days or moments that you just feel like listening or doing your petas or homeworks in just one night. I'm here to tell you that you are okay, that it's okay. You have to acknowledge that we're not always in our 100%. As a teacher, I'll be very honest. There are days that I don't want to teach. There are days that I don't want to open my laptop. I don't want to log into my Zoom account and actually teach. There are days that I just want to lie down and feel how tired I am from teaching, but it's a reminder for me that I'm not always in my 100%. And we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that we deserve some rest. We have to acknowledge that we are entitled to get some rest. And we have to acknowledge it's okay to take one step back from reality But I'm not telling you that you just stop trying. I'm telling you you deserve some rest, but I'm not telling you to stop trying, stop motivating yourself. You have to move forward because every time you rest, your students are waiting for you. Your students are waiting for you to be full again, to be 100% again. Your students are waiting for you, for them to learn new things from you. That's the thing that we always want to remember. So we have to acknowledge that we're getting tired because same goes with our students. In special education, we have this thing called IEP. So we have annual goals. So there, for example, there are 3 consecutive months we're doing good, we're achieving so much, we're really progressing. But after that, there are days, weeks, months, or sometimes years that we're not progressing at all. I cannot see any progress. When that exact moment happened, I have to acknowledge that progress is not linear. If I don't acknowledge that one, I'll end up being pressured. I'll end up pressuring myself, pressuring my student. I'll end up frustrated with myself and also my student. So I have to acknowledge that. When that exact moment happened, all I have to do is to assess what's happening, assess myself. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something right? Do I have to change something? Do I have to change my routine, my approach? You have to assess. And always remember, you have to trust your student. Yes, we have goals. We have goals to achieve, but it doesn't mean that you have to work on it today, tomorrow, in 2 months, in 6 months, or in 1 year. Always remember that it takes time and it always gets better. So always remember, you have to trust your student. As a teacher, I have this thing that if I have a positive energy towards a student, I feel like they're observing it. It's just me. But always remember this one. Progress is not linear and you have to trust your student. And lastly, when a teacher shared to you that teaching is fulfilling, please believe it's true. I'm gonna share a short story. Uh, my student right now, I met him last year. He's diagnosed with autism. So I'm still with him right now. He's diagnosed with autism and he's just so anxious to be with teachers. Not just with me, generally all teachers, even the ST, PT, or OT. Because in the therapy center, they usually call the OT teachers. So it can be ST, PT, OT, SPED, or even the doctors. So when you're near him, he tends to be very stiff. It's like he's like a metal. His skin will turn red and he gets teary-eyed. So if you stay longer with him, he'll end up crying. He's just too anxious to be with me. This boy is verbal, but he just doesn't want to talk to me, to other teachers. He's just that anxious. All I can hear from him during the academic year is yes, teacher, no teacher, I don't know teacher, and the rest is full of nothing. But it's kind of hard for me because always remember this one. When you start working, the first week or the first month of teaching, you have to work hard to get the trust of your student. You have to work hard and do everything that you can for your students to get comfortable with you. But in my case, it's a little bit hard because my kid is too anxious to be with me. But in our 7th month together, it's just a normal day. We're having a science class. We're talking about animals, and I'm holding a penguin picture, a penguin flashcard. And suddenly he smiled. It took him 7 months to smile. It took me 7 months to finally see that smile. It took me 7 months. It took him 7 months to finally open himself and let me know his real emotion. That's the kind of fulfillment that you feel if you're a teacher. It's not a fulfillment that you feel if you have a new gadget, if you have a new iPhone or a new series from your favorite, a new episode from your favorite series. It's not that kind of fulfillment. It's a fulfillment that reminds me that I'm doing something good, that I'm changing this boy's life. Recently, because of the pandemic, we're into online class. So our class is from Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the people in the house are sharing to me that every 11:30 a.m., this kid will go to our classroom, get his toys, Peppa Pig, Jerry, Madame Giselle. If you know these characters, he will sit down in his classroom, pile his toys, sit down in front of the toys, and actually act like a teacher. Imagine from a student who is very scared, very anxious to be with teachers, is now actually acting like a teacher, playing like a teacher, and actually teaching his toys. Sometimes I'm asking him, what are your lessons for today? He'll say, I'm teaching them he or she spelling. I'm teaching them colors, countings, numbers. That is the kind of fulfillment that I want you to feel. I hope all the educators right there, all the college students right there will finish their program because these kind of moments are waiting for you. Our students are waiting for you. It's also a big reminder for me that we are given a very, very important opportunity, a priceless opportunity to make an impact, to influence and inspire the future of our country, the future of our world. Again, happy World Teachers Day po sa lahat ng dakilang guro. Mabuhay po tayo. Thank you so much po.
Thank you very much, Miss Trinidad, for sharing your story as a young and dynamic Tomasian educator and for affirming that teaching is fulfilling. Our next speaker is a DepEd teacher broadcaster of Taguig City. She is a graduate of the Bachelor of Elementary Education, Preschool Education major in the year 2013. Let us join hands in welcoming Miss Eugen Ruflin Alice A. Gazingan Abrasha, LPT.
Good morning. And first and foremost, I would like to greet all the teachers and soon to be teachers out there. A very, very blessed World Teachers Day to all. So as mentioned, I'm currently a DepEd teacher broadcaster of DepEd TV. And as we are speaking right now, it's currently airing at different partner channels that we have. So let's leave that alone and let's talk about us teachers. So before anything else, I would like to share my screen. There you go. Okay, I will just use the other one. And I know that everyone is so excited to celebrate with all your teachers, all your professors, and we are all excited to be with each one. But unfortunately, we cannot do that for now because we are all in quarantine in GCQ or in whatever level of quarantine that you have in your provinces. But for us in Metro Manila, we are in GCQ. So again, I'm a kindergarten teacher and I graduated in the year 2013, BE Ed major in preschool education. And today, ayan, nag-greet ko na kayo kanina. I've already greeted everyone a happy World Teachers Day. So to begin, we are now in a new normal setting. It's different from what we used to do. It's different from what we used to have back then. And it's really a very challenging time for us all. So when the pandemic hit, it I think it's the teacher, if not the most, teachers are one of the most affected professions or professionals in our society, in our community, because teachers are really more on the face-to-face actual teaching and learning inside the classroom. But then I believe that teachers are the ones that can adjust the best. You know why? Because in just an instant we have really adjusted to the new normal that they say. New normal in the sense that it's not the usual or the traditional way of teaching and learning already, but then there's a lot of innovations that the education community has done. We brought out solutions to the situations and circumstances that we had back then. So let me just tell you a short story of what I experienced during the first few days of lockdown. So it was in March 9 that the first class suspension due to pandemic happened. And that week is really our fourth quarter exam. So you might think that it's a bit early to have the fourth quarterly exam by around March 9, but that's because my class, my kindergarten special science class, is about to present their reading recital the week after that. And we are also so excited to do the exams and then eventually to present to the whole school what we've learned for the past school year. And the parents already prepared a lot of materials, a lot of costumes, a lot of props for their children because uh, when a child or when your pupils are presenting, it's not the pupils who really get excited, but it's their parents. Admit it. And then when the pandemic hit and the suspension of classes started around March 9, I jokingly told the parents of my pupils, "Oh, mas mahaba po ang preparation, mas mahirap na po yung exam." Or in translation, the longer the preparation or the review period, the harder the exam will be. And then destiny hit me so hard because it was not the exam that became hard. It was my feeling uh, of separation anxiety for my pupils that became harder and harder, hitting me in my heart, in my mind, because it was like I was a plant that has been uprooted without any heads up to my soil, which are my pupils back then. So it was really hard for me, for us teachers. I know it's also hard for the soon to be educators that they may not have their pupils yet, but their connection with their professors, with their teachers, became very stopped in an instant. So that's the feeling that we all felt during March. But then see how teachers work. We brought out solutions. We brought out different innovations for us to still continue learning. For the Department of Education side, the DepEd Commons was launched. The DepEd Commons was utilized by all the teachers, all the public school teachers, and even private school teachers. The DepEd Commons was used. So what is the DepEd Commons? It's basically a lot of materials, teaching materials that you can find in the DepEd portal. So you see, before we all rely on the traditional, the books, the materials that the teacher will use inside the classroom. But then, in just a snap, there's a lot of changes that happen. It became utilized by the whole Philippines. And also, the Department of Education never stopped there. They did not stop there. They innovated a lot of things. They trained teachers for the new normal setup. There was a lot of webinars in the Education Technology Unit or the EdTech unit. There's a lot of teacher trainings that happened in order for us teachers to cope up with the new situation, with the new scenarios. There you go. The separation anxiety really hit us hard. And like I mentioned, I was like a plant uprooted from my soil, which are my pupils. But we had a lot of different immediate solutions to that. So in the new normal, the teachers, the hanging lessons of the teachers became available online. Before, we just thought that teachers will just teach it, teachers will just tell it to the class, elaborate it to the class. But then they shifted immediately to online. And then periodical exams and other exams were waived in some schools and even postponed by some agencies. So that's a leap of faith that yearly and quarterly the exams are really important and needed. But then teachers or the education community and educational institutions have a heart to feel for the pupils, to feel for the learners that it's okay to waive the exams. It's okay to postpone some of the exams so that the learners will not have a hard time because we're all coping. We are all coping. Up to now, we haven't coped that much yet, but we had a lot of phases of coping. But I don't think that we have coped up 100% now. We're really okay already. We are trying to be okay. And as mentioned a while ago, it's okay not to feel okay most of the times. Acknowledge your weakness, acknowledge your feelings, because all those are valid. Also, the due projects, the performance tasks, which used to be in a physical or face-to-face setting, were made digital. So we can now send it online. That before we are discouraging that fact, but now we are embracing that fact already. Also, the recognition ceremonies became virtual. We no longer go to different venues for the recognition ceremony. We just sit inside our homes and watch the recognition ceremonies because it's all virtual. Graduation rites became video presentation. This one saddened me a lot because my sister is a grade 6 student, and she did not experience the feeling of walking the aisle and seeing all your classmates and batchmates around you clapping for each other. But then the graduation rites just became a video presentation. I know that a lot of the teenagers, a lot of the grade 6 or the grade 10 or grade 12 pupils experienced this. And it really saddened me that they did not feel uh, how it, the feeling of being excited to walk down the aisle with your classmates together. But then remember that you are history. This is the first time, if not the first, one of the first few things that this happened to our country. So you are history. So don't feel bad that you did not experience the traditional graduation rites because you are a history. Your graduation is a history. So that's something that you can tell about to your future kids or to your future friends, that you are part of the history, that the graduation rites became video presentation and virtual. Also, the medals and awards were represented by slideshows. We cannot have the medals and awards. Our teachers, our professors, principals, deans cannot put our medals, our physical medals, the way that it was used to be done back then. But then the medals and awards became merely slideshows. What we do is just to screenshot our awards, and then that's it. If we will be receiving the real or the tangible medals and awards and certificates, it's way behind already. It's like a month after their virtual recognition day or something, but it's not the same feeling that we feel back then when we receive it physically, but we embraced it as well. Teachers also became vloggers. I myself became a vlogger because of this pandemic. Well, not like a real vlogger, but I try to innovate on how I can reach out to my pupils from the school year 2019-2020. I tried to make videos to augment the gap from March 9 to, I think, around the entirety of March. I made video lessons for them to continue to learn while they are just inside their home. Also, I continue doing video lessons until now for my pupils this school year. Actually, before this very wonderful event of UST, I was with my uh, kindergarten special science class. That was around 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock this morning. So I told them that I need to end a little bit early so that I can attend here. So I also told them to watch and be inspired with all the stories of the teachers that are here present this morning. You know why? You know why all these things happen? The abrupt change and the abrupt embracing of the technology. It's because of love. It's because of love of the educators for our pupils, and because of the love of educators for our craft as teachers, as educators. We will not be able to surpass the 7 months of not going to school, of not meeting our pupils, if not for our love for them, for you, and for our passion, our burning desire to be teachers, to be educators. And that's one thing to feel inside of you. That's intrinsic. No one can tell you to love your craft. Oh, you, John, you love your craft. You do this for your pupils. And when they do that, maybe you will follow them, but it's not from the heart. You know what I mean? It's not intrinsic in motivation. You're just doing it to comply. You're just doing it to for them to stop nagging you maybe. But when you do something that you really feel it, that you really love doing it, that you know who you are doing it for and who you are doing it with your colleagues, then that's a wonderful motivation for you to become a very, very wonderful teacher, a teacher that is full of heart. And that's an art. Also, the innovations like the DepEd TV, as I mentioned a while ago, is a big step for the Department of Education. It was a leap of faith that started just uh, last week of July, and now we are airing. And Kuya Paulo Bidiones told us that it's not easy to produce an episode. It's not easy to produce a show. For him, it took 6 months to produce one extra challenge show. But for us teachers and for all the other volunteers for this history in the making, the DepEd TV, we only do it for like 2 months. July, August, September, and now it's October. We're airing it in our different partner channels. So that's history in the making. Do you know why that the Department of Education was able to do this kind of innovation? It's because of the teachers, the volunteer teachers that they have that has passion and desire to impart themselves, to share knowledge, not just to their pupils, to their section, but rather to the Philippines. As the hashtag goes, gurong Filipino para sa batang Filipino. So with that, I would like to share 5 things to consider in order to move forward in this new and better normal. So they call it new normal, but I'd rather call it new and better normal. Why? Because I think that you need to change. The only constant thing in this world is change. But if you will change for the better. So this new normal, I would like everyone to change for the better, to be a better version of yourselves by being first, have gratitude. We need to be thankful for everyone and anything that's happening around us. I don't believe in what they say that mm, some things happen for I believe in what they say, some things happen for a reason. I don't believe in what they say that things will just go and pass without you knowing it, because I believe that everyone and anything that happens to your life and that you meet is meant to be there. If not to stay, it's meant to teach you a lesson for you to become a better person in the future. So everything that's happening to you right now, if you're struggling, if you're happy, if you're excited, if you're sad, embrace it, because all those feelings you will feel in the future that, oh, the reason why I felt that way then is because I will be like this now. So, why not turn your why? Why is this happening to me? Bakit to nangyayari sa akin? Why am I sad? Why am I lonely? Why am I discouraged? Next time, please translate that into that's why. Oh, that's why I felt that. Oh, that's why I struggled before. Oh, that's why I became sad. So turn your whys into that's why. Okay? Next, responsibility. We teachers have a huge responsibility in the society, not only to our pupils, mind you, but in the whole society. Sometimes they will even tell us, teacher ka pa naman. Have you heard that? Teacher ka pa naman. And sometimes it hurts us to hear that phrase. But thinking about it, it's because they have they look at us big they look at teachers, they look up to the teachers. Okay, again, they look up to the teachers. The society look up to the teachers, that we provide morals, that we provide values for our learners. So the phrase teacher ka pa naman sometimes hurt us, but the good thing about it is teacher ka pa naman, you need to inspire. You're a teacher, you need to inspire. You need to inspire, you need to do things that will make your learners look up to you and not look down at you. So we need to be responsible in everything that we do, in every action that we take, because all of those actions, all of those words that we will say will have a big impact to our pupils. When we look down at them, when we tell bad about them, when we describe them negatively, it sinks into them. It sinks into them, oh, that this is the reason, uh this is how teacher sees me, this is how ma'am sees me, this is how sir described me, maybe I'm really that person. So instead of bringing your pupils down, try to make it positive, try to inspire them, be responsible enough, and think twice thrice before you open your mouth, so that anything that goes out from your mouth is very inspiring to your pupils. Also, we need enthusiasm. We need to have the energy. We need to have the sincerity to impart ourselves, to sacrifice for our pupils. We need to be enthusiastic in delivering our lessons because they feel it. They feel it if you do it just for the sake of doing it. They will feel it if you are sincere, if you really care for them, they will feel it. They will also feel it if you have no care at all. In this new normal, there's a lot of Facebook posts that I've been seeing that teachers are really bombarding their learners of a lot of reading materials, a lot of assignment, a lot of juice. But think about it, learners. Think about it, teachers as well. These materials is not for us to feel burdened, but it is for us to feel empowered, because our teachers are giving us a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom from different sources for us to have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information for us to be ready as well in the battlefield. They feel our sincerity, as mentioned a while ago. They will feel it. They will feel if you are sincere for them. They will feel if you are not. So feel it intrinsically. Be sincere in reaching out for your pupils. The fourth one is aspiration. Be there to let them feel that they can aspire more. They can dream bigger. They can reach those goals. They can reach whatever they want to be because you are there guiding them all the way. Teach them to aspire bigger and not to settle for what is just. You know what is just. But they can be more. They can have more. So teach them to aspire bigger. A person's chapter 1 might be another person's chapter 20 already. So don't feel bad or don't feel jealous that if your colleagues or your friends are already achieving or are already succeeding at your age. Maybe she or he has struggled a lot before, and she or he is already on chapter 20 while you are just starting in your chapter 1. So just continue working hard, striving, because someday your plotted goal, you will reach your plotted goal. You already have your goal there. So just keep on working. Never mind them if they're succeeding. Be happy for them. Don't feel jealous for other people. Don't feel jealous for anyone. But just be happy for yourself. Because there's a path that you are taking. It's a different path than them. And lastly, we need to teach, teach, and never stop teaching. Why? Because as teachers, we need to be there for our learners because we can help them. We can help them as they reach their goals. We can help them to be their ambitions. We can help them to be doctors. We can help them to be any profession that they would like. Just be there. What will happen if all the teachers get tired and stop teaching? What do you think? Reflect on yourself. What will happen if there are no more teachers already? So I believe, and I always tell this to my friends, and I always tell this to my sharings, that we teachers need to change the world. We can actually change the world, but we cannot do it in an instant. We need to change the world into a better one learner at a time. So with that, I would like to wrap it up. So here are the five things to consider in order for us to move forward into a new and better normal. To have gratitude, to be responsible, to be enthusiastic, to be aspirational and keep on aspiring, and to continue teaching. In short, be great. Be a great version of yourself. You are great. We are all great. And we will be great if we never stop moving forward, continuing this path. Again, dear teachers and soon to be teachers, happy World Teachers Day to everyone. And always remember, teacher, you can. Thank you so much, everyone, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gasingan Abrasha, for that wonderful sharing of your story as a multifaceted teacher and as a great teacher in the new and better normal. For our viewers, you may send your comments and questions by typing them on the chat box. Don't forget to include your affiliations and the city or country you are coming from. Let us now listen to the flight path of success of our alumni from the Bachelor of Secondary Education. Let us begin with our first speaker, who is a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Biology Chemistry, batch 2008. She is now a Teacher 3 of Sauyo High School. Please welcome Miss Melody Dumalasa Dasas, LPT.
UST College of Education. I come from a family of medical practitioners. Both my mother and my sister are nurses at the UST hospital. My for inviting me as one of the speakers for today's event. A special shout out to all my former professors who are joining us for today. It is both an honor and a privilege to be speaking to you about my experience as a teacher and as an alumna of the UST College of Education. I come from a family of medical practitioners. Both my mother and my sister are nurses at the UST hospital. My journey in the teaching profession was a product of both chance and choice. Chance brought me to pursue BSE Biology Chemistry. I was initially planning to shift to nursing after a year, but I chose teaching. It was a life-changing decision I will forever cherish. This morning, allow me to talk very briefly about my teaching journey. More specifically, I will talk about 3 important life lessons I learned from my humble years of teaching, 12 and a half years to be exact. First lesson, be humble. After graduating from the College of Education in 2008, I began my teaching career in a small parochial school in Quezon City. I was given the opportunity to handle several grade levels from kinder to grade 6. I had to quickly adjust As you well know, teaching early grades and advanced grade levels require different teaching paradigms, methodologies, and approaches. My first year of teaching led me to be flexible and dynamic. I learned the value of humility. Being a teacher requires humility to accept things you do not know. With the advent of new technologies, information is readily available for our students. We can be easily fact-checked by our students, and being humble involves accepting that the teacher's role has slowly evolved from being a knowledge source to a knowledge creator. As a teacher, being humble involves continually learning, unlearning, and relearning. For the second lesson, look for opportunities to grow. In 2009, I transferred to a bigger school in Manila, where I was tasked to handle integrated science and biology. From teaching grade school, I was challenged to handle high school learners. I saw it as an opportunity to grow. I found myself going over old notes and books from my major courses at the College of Education. I was not an A student, but I loved learning. I was then realized the value of pursuing a doctorate degree. I took courage and applied for admission for MA Biological Science degree at the pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila. It took me almost 7 years to finish my master's degree. But with the support of my family, I survived and finished. After master's, I told myself, tama na. Okay na ako, may MA na ako eh. But fast forward to 2020, yes, at the time of COVID-19, I began taking my doctorate degree. Another opportunity to grow and become better. As a teacher, you will have to search for opportunities to grow, both personally and professionally. Pursuing graduate studies, engaging in continuous professional developments through seminars, and active learning communities and organizations. As a cliche goes, a teacher is a lifelong learner, continually seeking ways to become better, not for herself, but for her students' benefit. For the third lesson, expect the unexpected. In 2014, I took the courage to apply for teaching post at the public school sector. I saw this as an opportunity to give more attention to my two growing kids, since public school teachers report for 6 hours a day. Roughly 2 weeks after giving birth to my youngest child, I received a call from the division office that I got assigned a teaching item. When I reported to the school, I was surprised to find out that they did not need science teachers. Here's the catch. I was asked to handle Filipino classes. Indeed, expect the unexpected. It took some steps back to think about my situation. But I am reminded by the 2 life lessons I mentioned earlier. Be humble and look for opportunities to grow. I look at the public school student situation and I realized that life there is poor and very sad. As a Tomasian, educator, I was trained to see the situations with a silver lining. I took the courage and accepted the challenge of handling Filipino, and it was something I never regretted doing. After 2 years, I was finally reassigned to teach science. It was then that I realized the dismal situation of public schools. Imagine teaching science without a laboratory. The laboratory was converted to a multimedia room where one television unit is shared by several teachers, and reservations were needed to use the space. I was also made to occupy a makeshift faculty room that used to be a comfort room. Again, expect the unexpected. In my almost 7 years of teaching at the public school, I realized that much of the taboo surrounding public school teachers and public school students were actually myths. While it is true that teacher salaries need a lot of upgrading, not all public school teachers sell longganisa or iced candy. While it's true that PISA test results and not results reveal the poor academic performance of public school students, a good number of public school students do very well in their academics. Sadly, not most of these students lack the opportunity and resources to pursue a college education. Some of them end up working after finishing high school. Consider yourself lucky having the privilege to enter college at UST pa. A number of my students see college as a far-fetched dream. Your Thomasian education comes with a responsibility to make a difference and provide opportunities to grow. My teaching trajectory in itself is not a smooth path. There were moments when I felt like giving up. There were instances I asked myself, am I really made for a teaching profession? When in doubt, I always remind myself the words of our dear Regent, Reverend Father Roy Rodriguez. Humihinto ang lahat para sa minamahal. The world stops for the beloved. I know I love teaching because my world momentarily stops when I am in the classroom, doing what I do best. The classroom is every teacher's happy place. Teaching is not a walk in the park, but my Thomasian education made me resilient and hopeful. After all, teaching is being hopeful. We hope for our students to learn the lesson well. We hope for our students to succeed and pursue their dreams. We hope for a transformed society, far different from the dark and distorted present we live today. Interestingly, there is much captured by the logos of the top education schools in the country. They all include a torch. The torch is a fitting symbol for what teachers bring to the society: enlightenment and hope. Teachers are agents of enlightenment. Teachers are beacons of hope. The COVID-19 pandemic challenged the teachers to explore uncharted territories. Teachers assumed several roles: social, managerial, and technical role. Both old and young teachers struggled to embrace technologies in order to continue with their mission to educate the minds of young people. But no pandemic can stop a passionate teacher. As we celebrate World Teachers Day today, please take time to thank your teachers for going the extra mile to make learn amidst the pandemic. I would like to end by making special shout out to all my teachers who spend long hours preparing modules, preparing for their classes, and assisting students who are lagging behind. Happy World Teachers Day. May you continue to being enlightenment and hope to your students. Thank you very much everyone for actively listening. Mabuhay ang Gurong Tomasino, mabuhay ang Gurong Pilipino. Maraming salamat po. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dumalasa Dasas, for sharing with us your story of seeing the silver lining as a public school teacher. At this point, I would like to have a shout out to our viewers who are greeting us with Happy Teachers Day. Happy Teachers Day, everyone. Special shout out to our viewer, Miss Angelica Cortez, straight from Cabanatuan City. And our viewers also from Indonesia, special shout out to you. Okay, so the Thomasian educator as a competent professional also serves the academic community as an administrator. Our next speaker, a graduate of the Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English in 2001, is a perfect example of this, and she is now the Director of Enduran Extension. Let us now welcome with a big round of applause, Ms. Loida Claro Flojo, LPT.
Good morning, fellow Thomasians and educators. Happy World Teachers Day. Good morning, Dean Pilar Romero, Reverend Father Maximo Gatella OP, Professor Cruz, Professor Quintana, Professor Santiago, Professor Vicente, Ms. Del Castillo, Ms. Del Rio, Professor Reyes, Professor Tinupunan, Professor Fahilan, Professor Taruk, and Professor Calaca. I am so glad to be back. Thank you, Dr. June Santiago, for inviting me to celebrate World Teachers Day with no less than my fellow educators. I'd like to start with a quote by Nobel Prize in Literature nominee Nikos Kazantzakis. True teachers are those who use themselves as bridges, over which they invite their students to cross. Then, having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create their own. This reminds me very much of my Thomasian education. I never felt that I was ill-equipped or lacking when I came out of UST's gates. That bridge built for me by my instructors and my deans was quite solid. The education teaching lab exposed me to the joys and the demands of the teaching profession. I could still recount the days when I would enter the classroom full of eager students, while I myself was also excited, yet a little nervous to deliver the lesson of the day. However, the training I received always emanated from the way I started my lesson to the way I ended my class. And that level of confidence was there. On the other hand, my Thomasian education also taught me that I shouldn't settle or be content with what I was given. And that means always seeking for more ways to be a better version of myself, forging my own teaching path. Thus, the collapse of that bridge definitely happened. And as I talk about each milestone of my professional life, I would like to provide some key takeaways that you as a future teacher can think about and hopefully learn from. First one being is that having a strong foundation in anything you do is key. If you are determined to succeed, whether it's in teaching, program management, people management, you have to plant your seeds as early as you can. This is what I learned when I spent my first few years being inside the classroom. I taught for 6 years in an all-boys school in San Juan. There, I toiled making daily lesson plans, checking papers, writing syllabus all summer long, and I learned how it felt to be led, and eventually how to lead. It wasn't a walk in the park, believe me. There were days when you'd feel tired or disillusioned, but you just have to remember, you will not be able to master any skill you'd want to learn by just getting by or waiting to be told. You have to work and build your resume from ground up. And by having a strong foundation, I don't only mean honing your hard skills, okay? It also comes with subconsciously strengthening your soft skills, grit, interpersonal skills, adaptability, growth mindset, and openness to feedback. Second, do not hesitate to take a dive and explore what is outside your comfort zone. Stepping out of your comfort zone is definitely not as easy as it sounds, since it might mean starting from scratch or working your way up again. But you have to start somewhere, right? When I turned 25, this was when I started thinking about moving overseas. I thought, okay, I wanted to learn a new language, teach in an international school, and get out of my parents' house. And I did. It was so fast. I just told my then boyfriend, now husband, I'm leaving next week. Sounds like a whirlwind, but it was a turning point and I never regretted that day. I was able to travel the world, teach foreign students, handle a very prestigious program from abroad, which was the International Baccalaureate program. At that time, it was only the IS schools in Manila that offered that program and only foreign teachers could handle. And there I was, a young'un, a wide-eyed 25-year-old, braving teaching world standards in another country. Those 2 years were filled with great memories, hopping from one country to another for professional training, quick travels, and whatnot. My cultural awareness was definitely heightened, and it shaped my global mindset. Then again, it wasn't always fun. I had bad days. Definitely not Instagram worthy. I felt alone most of the time. The pressure to perform was always, looming in my head because people surrounding me were just so competitive in nature. To combat all these, I worked even harder. I learned even more. So my advice is, do not be afraid to venture into something new. May it be a new subject you think you won't be able to handle or teach, a new school where methodologies may seem unfamiliar, a new skill that may seem difficult since you were never exposed to it, a new experience that wasn't part of your original plan. Lastly, my third and most important advice. In this day and age where digital transformation is currently disrupting all of us, my dear teachers, upskill, retool, and disrupt yourself. When I was in college, UST days, there were only beepers, Nokias, and books, which we relied on heavily for communication and research. I will never forget research days when we would go to the statistician's apartment along the Pitan to consult. Now, educational technology has embraced immersive learning, virtual reality. Gamification used to be a nice to know, but now it can carry big ideas inside the classrooms. Artificial intelligence makes it possible for teachers to customize learning plans based on student progress. What I'm driving at here is that you somehow have a glimpse of what lies ahead of you, and you're living in a world where information is available everywhere. Learning does not stop when you start working. In fact, it is the beginning of your lifelong learning journey as an individual, as a teacher. Believe me, unlocking that one skill that you never thought you'd possess sparks joy, as Marie Kondo would say. They say that you cannot give what you don't have, and I think that along with your students, you just have to continuously seek all these learning opportunities. Right now, I serve as overall director of Enderan Extension, the continuing education arm of Enderan Colleges. It is an international school located in Taguig. When I started working at Enderan, I was focused on developing English programs, fixing the curriculum, managing the teachers, everything related to my field, which is education. Until one day, I was called in to manage business development. I wasn't trained at all in entrepreneurship or business. But then I told myself, if I didn't dabble into something new, the following years would probably be comfortable, but less exciting, safe, but more routinary. So I took the plunge, and again, I did not regret that day I made that choice. It definitely helped that till this day, I have got amazing mentors who are very generous in sharing their wealth of experiences and knowledge in the business field. I am still where I am, in the same profession of educating young minds, doing what a teacher does best, but a much improved one. I'm still learning day in and day out, going beyond work hours, going beyond the day, understanding more. And you, future educators, have so much more to offer. If you continue rediscovering yourselves, humbling yourselves, admitting that there's always something bigger and better, but not necessarily living a life where you'd always have to compare yourselves to the rest of the world every single time. All you have to do is focus on yourself, take the challenge head on, and you will be fine. Be that bridge, joyfully collapse for your students so that they can create their own. But use that very same bridge for yourselves, and you will be led to something that will continuously feed your soul and inspire you to become the educator that you've always envisioned. Now that COVID-19 has continuously kept us out of our classrooms and away from the kids, your dedication to the profession has now become more resounding. And we celebrate you, my fellow teachers, more than ever. And with this, I would like to greet you again. A happy World Teachers Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Clara Flojo. I hope that your success as a teacher and an administrator will be a source of inspiration for all of us. Shout out to our students who are greeting us with World Teachers, Happy World Teachers Day to all of you also. A special shout out also to Sir Alvin Ringo Reyes, who was very proud of being a teacher to Miss Flojo. Yan, he was saying Miss Flojo was his student almost 2 decades ago, and Miss Flojo didn't age a bit. Okay. So a Tomasian educator is someone who also serves as an expert in a government agency, where the scope of his work calls for policy formulation, implementation, and evaluation, like our next speaker, who is a graduate of the Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in mathematics in 1990. She is a faculty member of the Mathematics and Physics Department, College of Science of the University of Santo Tomas. Let us all welcome Associate Professor Marianina Aycalaca, LPTMA, member of CHED Technical Panel for Transnational and Distance Education.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Geronimo. May I share my screen? May I know if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
po,
you
ma'am.
very much. Thank you. Dean Pilar Romero, Reverend Father Max Gatella, dear administrators, academic officials, esteemed guests, students, good morning. This year actually marks my 30th year of teaching profession. And with that 30 years, I would say there are a lot of stories and experiences to share with you. But let me apply my major, which is mathematics, and I would like to divide it into three. And that's today, I would like to share with you 10 important experiences as a teacher that shaped me for who I am now, 10 important contributions because of those experiences, and the 10 reasons why teaching is the best profession. So these are the whys and the hows. Okay. So let me present side by side the 10 experiences and the 10 contributions. My first experience is getting the best education, getting the right foundation from the University of Santo Tomas. That's the very first thing. I was molded with the proper values, the proper ethics, the proper everything of a teacher. Even the ethos that you can find in the university speaks of what a truly teacher is. And aside from that, I continued to be a lifelong learner. So after graduating in 1990, I started teaching as well in a parochial school. I entered the civil law. Due to health reasons, I was not able to finish that, but I did not stop there. I continued to study while I'm on medical leave. I studied at the STI for some specialized courses related to IT and programming. I came back to the university in 1991. In 1991, yes. So I studied MA in development education, and then I went to New Zealand for another degree, and I finished that in 1997. I did a postgraduate professional certificate in distance education in University of Wisconsin in USA, and that's a 2-year professional certificate course. I have a diploma in e-learning from APEC Institute, South Korea. I have 6 professional certificates from Germany and others. I never stopped studying. Experience number 2. The Commission on Higher Education took me as a consultant. This actually gave me a very good break because here as a member of the technical panel for transnational education and distance education, it led me to the way to be a member of the CHED technical working group as well for flexible learning or we call it as the TWG for COVID-19. As the same reason why I am also a member of the UNESCO Philippine Open Educational Resource Task Force for Teacher Education under the UNESCO Southeast Asian CLLSD and the SIMIO. And I represent CHED for whatever activities. So as you can see in the picture, I even represented CHED up to discussions up to the Senate regarding policies. I represent the Commission on Higher Education for important events for the British Council and others. So this experience actually provided me the opportunity to meet people from different offices and different sectors, not only in the academe, but different sectors up to UNESCO, up to SIMIO, up to even people from Paris. And meeting people like this will really change your global mindset. And of course, the expertise is there that we can learn a lot from them. So with that opportunity or experience, I would like to share with you my major contribution number one. My major contribution that involves policies and guidelines for national and international level that concerns or involve transnational education and distance education. So we have crafted the IRR, or the Implementing Rules and Regulations of RA 10650, also known as the Distance Learning Act. We have revised and created new CMOs for the Commission, that's CMO 62 series of 2016 and CMO number 4 series of 2020, or the Flexible Learning. And there are two more CMOs underway, which are, we are really working on it. You know, coming up with CMO is not an easy task, especially the CMO CMO number 4 series of 2020. Sometimes we our meeting will end up to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning just to be able to finish a CMO. We need to present it to the regional offices, the directors, before we can present it to the different presidents of the state universities and the private HEIs. So it takes really a long process. And the fastest is it takes a year before we can have a CMO published. Sometimes based on our experience on CMO 62, it took us actually 2 years before we can have it signed. So we also assist the different CHED regional offices and HEIs on how to go about flexible learning, especially during this time of pandemic, or what we call as the new normal. We conduct public hearings, public orientations, we provide seminars, workshops, and others related to our function. We also provide the Philippine policy on open educational resources, and we also have I would say that I have this OER on ICT that is available now at SIMIO, at UPTV, and UNESCO ICT Hub, and it's for everyone's use. We monitor and evaluate higher education institutions involved with transnational education and distance education. And to date, I think I have evaluated 38 HEIs so far. I evaluate and assist also on the evaluation of big projects for national coverage. Experience number 3 and contribution number 2. My experience number 3 is as DepEd consultant for the International Cooperation Office. So this one is on the national level for the basic education. The previous one with CHED is on national level for the higher education. So as DepEd consultant for the ICO office, I take care of their planning. I help them in their planning. I help in the policy concerns and represent the Ministry of Education for APEC Future of Education Steering Committee and other concerns about APEC. So my contribution number 2 is, again, on policies and guidelines for national and international concerns. So I have developed together with the ICO office, we have developed the ICO Strategic Communications Plan. We have developed the policies for the international partnerships, provide expertise in major and regional fora and conferences whenever applicable and requested by the office. And I have facilitated and assisted schools in international partnerships such as the Southeast Asian Teachers Program and the APEC programs, such as the University of Santo Tomas College of Education. The Dean then, Dean Alan de Guzman, I'm not sure if he got pissed off with me, but I really tried to convince Dr. Alan, he was very busy that time, to submit the papers for the Southeast Asian Teachers Program. And I think it's doing well now for the College of Education. I have recommended 3 institutions for the Southeast Asian Teachers Program so far. It's not as a policy and as a consultant of the Department of Education and for CHED. Sometimes it's not as easy as simply recommending a school or recommending teachers, but it takes also that courage that you have really to know that person or that institution before you can recommend them. It's difficult if you simply recommend. If you will recommend, you have to help and assist the institution or the school. I'm so happy that I don't have any problem with UST College of Education. It's just a matter of telling Dr. Alan. And after 3 follow-ups with Dr. Alan, he sent, and I'm so happy that you've gone a long way already with this one. As part of the representative of the education or the MOE for steering committee, I get to have that experience of dealing with the different ambassadors and different dignitaries, secretaries, or representatives of the ministries of education from the other economies. So it's really an experience for me because in an international arena of discussion, you really have to be very strict and you have to be very straightforward in discussing. And I would say that I think I'm doing it well because I'm bringing many projects for the country. Let me go to experience number 4. Experience number 4 is my experience as an international collaboration representative under the APEC IAs, or the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Institute for Collaborative Education. As representative, I have the opportunity to be a steering committee member of the APEC International Collaborative Learning for Cyber Academy project. The project is based in Taiwan, and I got to have that opportunity to collaborate with different teachers who are into cyber academy from the different economies. Because of my participation also, I was invited to be as an APEC International researcher. So because of those experiences and because of representing the Philippine economy and by providing different expertise actually to the different activities related to APEC Future of Education Forum, the APEC Edutainment Exchange Program, the APEC Internet Volunteers, the ALCOB International Conference, and others, because all of these projects and programs of APEC I have attended. And because of that, I have brought into the Philippines now a yearly APEC Internet Volunteers since 2017. So since 2017, it's a yearly AIB in the Philippines, and now we're going around the Philippines and we're doing it regionally. What's good is that this year, I was able, because of the meeting last year that I attended in Seoul, Korea, IAs is now giving me the opportunity to have 2 AIBs in the Philippines, one for the government schools and one for the private schools. And we're doing it like Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And for this year, we'll be having it in the Visayas area. So last year we had it in Mindanao. The first was done in Manila. We did it twice in Manila. So we're going around the Philippines and we're serving the teachers in the Philippines. I have organized, together with the Department of Education, I have organized the APEC Future of Education Forum and the ALCOB International Conference in 2018 in the Philippines. And it was done in Conrad Hotel. It was attended by more than 250 participants with 48 international participants. We have conducted regional AIBs, as I have mentioned. These are forums in the Philippines. So this one is different from the training coming from Korea, because the yearly AIB is something that the experts come in the Philippines. So the experts are provided by the Korean MOE, or Ministry of Education. They take care of all the instruments and all the needed materials for the trainings. They provide everything. So we in the Philippines, we provide the venue, we provide the participants for the training. And the conducted regional AIB forums is sharing of experiences and sharing of what these teachers have done after the training. So it's a good experience for us. And we have done that Luzon, Visayas, and we have not done that for Mindanao. We have facilitated also participations of Filipino teachers and students in the APEC training and programs. So last year, I sent 5 teachers in Korea to attend the conference. I sent 2 students last year, one from UST and the other one is from Mindanao. And the other year, we sent 3 students, but only one student was able to join due to some visa requirements. So it's an experience for me. And I would say that I'm happy that I can do these things for the Philippine education. For experience number 5 is where I had this experience to be a board member of the Philippine E-Learning Society for 3 years. So my contribution as board member of the Philippine E-Learning Society is that I developed the ICT implementation plan for the Philippine education, and this was submitted to APEC. So we have initiated several conferences on e-learning, and we were able to send 2 UST employees to APEC training for diploma in e-learning. Unfortunately, these 2 employees are already out of the university. They retire very early from the university. As a board member of the Philippine E-Learning Society, I get to have that experience of learning and hearing from the different schools, their own experiences and challenges. And that actually provided me with more insights, and that contributed to me now as a policymaker. Experience number 6 is as a member of the technical working group for the UPTRA's registration of distance education programs and the Tibet System Development Office of TESDA. So I was a Tibet distance education consultant and accreditor way back 2005 to 2008. And my contribution, number 5, is my contribution to non-formal education. So my contribution is that we crafted the initial guidelines of TESDA on distance education programs. I was part of the team of TESDA Ad Cursa, the first online learning platform of TESDA that was launched in Malacanang, and I was invited to be there to be part of the launching. We monitored and evaluated several learning training centers. This participation and experience actually gave me the whole context that education is not just formal, but we have to take care of the non-formal side of education as well, looking into the marginalized sector of education. Experience number 7 is as a researcher and a scholar. I'm an associate researcher at the University Research Center for Social Sciences and Education. But my experience is way back 1991, where I started as a researcher at the Institute for Development Education. USDRC said is not the original name, but it has evolved already. But I was borrowed for quite some time by the USD administration. So I took a few years of leave in research. I am also a research fellow from Busan National University, South Korea. It's really an experience receiving an invitation to join them for launching of an international cooperation program. And they are requesting you to be one of their esteemed researchers, and everything is paid for the by the organizers. So it's really for me, it's an experience that we cannot really say no. So I was also invited to be a research and project management consultant of the RDC Philippine Army Camp in Libis, Pasig way back in 2007. So I helped them develop their project management manual, and we trained their directors. So also in 2005 to 2007, I was invited to be a research project consultant of the New Zealand Embassy. Unfortunately, after 2007, I did not pursue the consultancy because I'm already an administrator at the university during those years. So it will be difficult for me to take consultancy work outside. I have worked also as a research and development consultant of the National Secretariat for Social Action, Justice and Peace of the Caritas Philippines, CBCP. And that happened from April 1997 to April of 1999. It was quite an experience to be a research and development consultant of the Caritas Philippines, or the National Secretariat. This is where I experienced to go into the mountains, walking and climbing 3-4 mountains just to be able to reach the community and be able to help the community, assist the community. So it's more of people organization and helping the social action directors to provide whatever assistance they need. As a researcher, as I have mentioned during the inauguration in the senior high school research week or research month event, I mentioned there that research actually brought me to different places. It brought me to different places, and it led the way for me to meet people from different countries. So my participation as APEC Internet Volunteer, where I participated as one of the researchers, I met 6 very good, excellent researchers from 6 different economies, or we call it countries. But we also participate in projects that are not really for academic purposes, but we provide research also for different national offices such as the DSWD. So my experience as a researcher is quite broad, and I would say I have research publications as well. And the last publication that I have is under Routledge Publishing, that is in the book Higher Education in the Asian Country. So you can see in the slide, and most actually of the researches that I have done are commissioned researches, and it's in the form of a policy. If it's in the form of a policy, we cannot just simply publish the policy. So, and even if the policy is published, it will not be published under our name. But as a teacher, I would say that I am very happy that to date, I have produced and mentored at least 550 researches with student advices. And I have copies of many of those researches, and I still keep them. My experience number 8 is as an administrator of the University of Santo Tomas from 2005 to 2011. So I have served as the project officer of the project management office, as budget director of the university, director of the Educational Technology Center, and e-learning access program and e-learning consultant from 2003 to 2008. So I have performed many of these functions as an administrator. So my major contribution, number 7, would be we have initiated and administered some projects and programs for the university. We have initiated, set up, and established the e-learning program of the university, formerly known as the ELIP. Now, this is the program that what you call as the UST Cloud Campus. So we started that November of 2002, and we have it full implementation starting March 2003. Under my directorship, we have initiated and established the UST Tiger Radio. We have managed and administered many development projects. Dean Romero is there, and Dean Romero knows everything because we were together in so many projects and programs of the university during those days. We have developed and established policies and procedures for the university as well. And as university administrator, it was really an experience for me to be in the cover of Panorama. I'm sorry, but I have to tell it really that it was an experience to be, for me, to be in the cover of Panorama. It's also an experience for me to be in the Mabuhay magazine, and it's an limited edition of Mabuhay magazine. So USD really is giving me so many experiences, and it all started because of USD. Experience number 9 is my industry experience. I had this stint as a Vibal digital consultant from September 2011 to December 2015. And I would say I learned from the different teachers, from the different schools, administrators, because I got to travel around the Philippines. I got to travel and see the real condition of the school, of the education system in the Philippines. I saw the different opportunities possible. And because I'm a policymaker when I joined CHED in 2015, that's the reason why I left Bibal, is because I joined CHED already, and the CHED's appointment, it is actually by appointment. So we don't apply to CHED, but it's an appointment given to us. I took a leave from the university for a semester because I would like to try and find out the industry. I would like to know what really is the need of the industry, because I would like to be a good policymaker. And luckily, there is this one international, a multinational company who requested me to be their consultant. So they asked me to be a knowledge management consultant, but they asked me to take the post of director for that 6 months. Since it's a multinational company, the company is based in the USA, and the company has 18 business segments, and I handle one. And our clients are the like of ADB, UN, UNESCO, big pharmaceutical companies that are that they have. These are pharmaceutical companies who have different offices as well, and production companies in different countries. So I really would say that this is a very good experience for me, because I really know I saw what is needed by the industry in this experience. I learned to understand the gaps between education and industry. After 6 months, it was an agreement that I will be the consultant only. So it was a very good experience for me, knowing the industry and knowing what I can do. Major contributions number 8 and number 9, because of that. That's actually my contribution as a teacher outside of the university. As VBAL consultant, I initiated the development of Vsmart learning management system. I contributed and pioneered in the development of the interactive e-textbooks in the Philippines. So if you are enjoying the use of e-textbooks now, whether be it interactive or not, that is because we started it way back 20 something. So we facilitated the development of interactive e-textbooks, printed textbooks, games, and applications. And we have done one application available in the internet, and that is the DQuest, that is available for anyone to download. And we did that for UNESCO. As an industry manager, I initiated and designed an LMS for a multinational company. And I have expanded the business worldwide. This company actually is the biggest supplier of English teachers in China, in China, in Japan, and the US. When I joined the company, they only have 10 English teachers. But when I left the company, the request of Japan is for 200 teachers. And that's also the reason why the company transferred that one particular business in one whole building and transferred the operations to the operations, because that's different, to the operations people already. So it was removed from the Office of the Knowledge Management at the time. Experience number 10 would be the last. I really have it as my last experience being a teacher from the University of Santo Tomas. So I'm a mathematics and computer science coordinator for quite some time, as statisticians and others. But this is actually my 30 years of experience as a teacher in the university. And for my 30 years of teaching experience, let me share you some of my few contributions. So I have taught at least 25,000 students. I have taught students who are now famous and who are now doing very good in their own profession. Two of them are already commissioners. Many are medical doctors and PhD holders. And I'm so happy that I am part of the education of our very own faculty member. I know you can see him in the picture. I'm really very proud that he's one of my students before. I, uh, I have produced many teachers, pharmacists, medical technologists, sociologists, businessmen, and nurses as well during my early years of teaching. I have mentored at least 550 researchers. I have initiated, facilitated numerous seminars, trainings, and conferences. I have produced books as well, OER as well, that are available for national and international use. And everything that I have presented from my contributions, number one up to the last slide that you have previously seen, those are products of my contributions as a teacher from the University of Santo Tomas. And I would say it all started because of UST, because UST gave me the proper setting. UST gave me the proper foundation on who should I be. And with that, I would say that my 30 years of teaching is just really a hobby now, a passion, I would say, for me as a teacher. And I would like to share with you the 10 reasons why I'm still here and teaching. My first reason would be, I believe that what we do is important and we have to be challenged every day. We have to be challenged. We are nurturing lives of students. Every student is unique. One, two student whose life we can touch, that's okay, that's enough for me. So it's life that we are touching here. So what we are doing is really important, not only inside the classroom, but also outside the classroom. Number two would be, we get to witness learning light bulbs being sparked. You know, that aha moment from our students, that when they learn something from us, for me, that's something that I would say that's enough for me to stay and say, I'm doing something good for my students. Number three would be, we get to indulge in and share our passions. Teaching, I would say, is really my passion. Formal teaching for me, my experience of formal teaching started when I graduated um, in 1990. But way back when I was still in my elementary days, I was grade one. During that time, my teacher will call me and will ask me to help my classmates read. So my teacher will ask me to stand in front. The teacher will give me the stick, and he or she will ask me to lead my class to read. Okay, so as early as grade one, I'm doing that already. So actually, my teachers in high school were surprised when they learned that I took up education. Number four would be we have a captive audience of teachers and students. Um, sometimes when we are busy and we're doing so many things, I don't know, but for me, it's my way of relieving stress, my way of being me whenever I am with my students and whenever I am with other teachers, because I can share whatever I have and whatever I know. So um, looking at them, whenever you see that they are listening to you very attentively, that's something for me. And that keeps me going as a teacher. Even if we are very tired, tuloy pa rin tayo. Number five would be we get paid to learn and continue learning. Every class, every semester, every year is different. You know, education is expensive, but here as teachers, we learn and we get paid. We have so many faculty development activities and we learn from that. I studied in Wisconsin and UST paid for that. I, I, I had my diploma in e-learning from Korea. APEC paid for that because I was recommended by the university. I had these 6 international certifications from Germany, and it was through scholarship because I'm a teacher and it's my privilege to join the training. So, not only that our institution is providing us the needed training, especially now during this time of pandemic, many teachers are actually saying that there are so many trainings, we don't know what to do. We are very lucky that our schools, our university is providing these trainings. And we should be happy because we are way, way ahead than the other institutions or the other schools. So thank you to UST for that. Let's thank UST for that. So those are my first 5 reasons, and um, the next 5 reasons would be we have awesome opportunities in our wider community. Okay? Um, you go out, you got invited to talk or do a presentation. You met one, that one person could lead you to many opportunities. So always remember that. In my case, actually, I happen to have this opportunity to do a community work in Mindanao. I love Mindanao because my husband is from Mindanao, by the way. So I was doing a community work when I happened to meet this young lady who is about 3 years younger than me that time, who kept on asking so many questions, not knowing that she is from the government and she holds a post in the government. After that encounter, because we were together for 3 days, I think. After that encounter, she contacted me after a week. She's actually the one who invited me to sit in the technical panel in the Commission for Higher Education. And she led the way to other opportunities. Although the rest is history because we have common friends. It was something like she asked me to attend this one, and just to find out that the people there are also my old friends. So it's a long story actually. So number 7 would be we get to hang out with young people. Yes, because our students are young ones. We have teenagers. Thus, we feel young. We don't feel old. And we will never feel old because we are surrounded by young people. So we think differently. When we should think really differently, we should think of their age. And that's a challenge for us teachers. Number 8 would be we get to work with amazing colleagues and we get insights into a lot of other worlds. You know, the people that we encounter from our everyday work, our colleagues, you sit down in the pantry of the faculty room, have a sip of coffee and have a chit chat, a very short hi, hello. You know, there are so many things that happens in the pantry. There are so many things that you can learn from your colleagues. And these friends, not only colleagues in the university, but also colleagues from outside the university. So it's really life, no? Teaching is a whole life. Number 9 would be we can travel and call it work. I have toured and I have traveled in many countries. Myanmar, Thailand, uh, Vietnam, uh, Europe, Peru. APEC brought me to Peru, Lima, Peru. Unfortunately, I was not able to visit the Machu Picchu. So I have traveled many countries, many places. And I would say of all the travels that I have done, only one travel was really for leisure. And I paid for that one travel. That was my travel in Bali, Indonesia. All the rest were paid. But sometimes it's also difficult because during semester break, I really have to do a lot of travels and there are so many commitments to, to attend to. I experienced that I have to go to Makassar in Indonesia and the flight from Manila to Jakarta and then straight from Jakarta to Makassar it was really a very long flight that it's even faster and easier and shorter if I fly from Davao to Makassar. But since it is paid by the Indonesian embassy, I cannot say no, and I cannot. And that time was during the Ramadan, and we arrived around 9 o'clock in the morning. And since it's Ramadan, wherever you are, you have to respect the culture of the people. So it's like as a teacher, you have to be very sensitive of your environment. So straight from the airport, you have to give a presentation. And after that, after the sunset, that's the only time that you can eat. And the following morning, you have to leave very early because you need to be back in the Philippines because you have a next flight at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to catch because you need to be in Korea, in Busan, Korea, in the evening of the following day. I have experienced those travels, and I would say that all of them are paid by the organizers. Sometimes I travel without even a single dollar in my pocket. Everything is paid by them. Number 10 would be we have the best holidays with our family and friends. This is something that I really appreciate in teaching. As a teacher, when there's flood, you have the company of your family. When I was in the industry, my children are already at home, classes are already suspended, but I have to brave the flood and I have to be in the office because we need to deliver because every minute is dollar and it's really, it's the sound of the dollar, ka-ching, 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 that's pressuring you as a teacher, as an administrator, or as a business or a practitioner in the industry. Being a teacher is the best, I would say, because as a teacher, I could say that as a mother of 3, I can now give time and attention to my 3 children. During this time of pandemic, I can assist my children now to whatever needs they have. I am at the comfort of our home. A while ago, my son is on my right side asking something. And, you know, as a mother, as a teacher, this is we. And because of that, this is my last slide. And I hope this is my takeaway for everyone. Teaching for me is not just a vocation, it is life. And life is a mission. It is a mission and it is something that needs to be nurtured. As teachers, we can simply impress our students, but marking a difference and leaving a footprint that they can follow and will allow them to create their own footprints later is the path that we should lead our students as future teachers. With that, to all my mentors at the UST College of Educations and to all the teachers who are with us today and the teachers out there, happy World Teachers Day. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Kalaka, for sharing your experiences, contributions, and reasons. Indeed, your success story goes to show the possible career flight path that awaits every Tomasian pre-service teachers, and likewise the success of your mentors in the College of Education. At this point, we would like to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our alumni. The citation reads, University of Santo Tomas College of Education awards this Certificate of Recognition to Miss Jeline Trinidad, LPT, for sharing her time, knowledge, and expertise as speaker during the 2020 Knowledge Exchange Series, World Teachers Day 2020, a celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator, live streamed via the UST College of Education YouTube channel, given this 5th day of October in the year of our Lord 2020. Signed, Associate Professor Pilar I. Romero, LPT PhD, Dean, Reverend Father Maximo P. Gatella, OPPHL, Regent. The same citation goes to Miss Yujan Ruflin Alice A. Gasingan Abrasha, LPT, Miss Melody Dumalasa Dasas, LPT, Miss Loida Claro Flojo, LPT, and Associate Professor Marianina I. Calaca, LPT, MA. Congratulations and thank you very much. The College of Education, as a center of excellence in teacher education, is also an active builder of the bridge of peace, love, and camaraderie among our ASEAN brothers and sisters. Our commitment to the Southeast Asian Teacher Project and to our partner school, STKIP Pamane Talino, best exemplifies this ideal of being one with every citizen in a borderless world. Let us now listen to one of the mentors of our Sea Teacher outbound pre-service teachers, who has also served as their father and formator in their career as a beginning teacher. Let us all welcome Dr. Azwandi Bari, the Vice Dean for Student Affairs and International Relations, and the Sea Teacher Coordinator of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, University of Bengkulu, Indonesia. Okay, so let us now listen to one of our C Teacher alumni who can well speak of the requisite soft skills of a teacher. Join me in welcoming Mr. Teguh Ramdhani, C Teacher alumni from the Majalengka University, Indonesia.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the chance. It's an honor for me from Indonesia to have this chance to talk in front of you, to join this great event. Happy Teachers Day to all of you guys, all of you, everyone, every teachers in the world. Happy. Hopefully, the education in the world will improve and improve, will be better and better, and every students of the next generation will be better than today's generation. So here, I, as has been mentioned, that I am an alumni of Teacher Project, or it is a project of from the ASEAN, from the SAMIO, or Southeast Asian Ministry of Education organization, which is the organization of all Ministry of Education in ASEAN. So here I am one of them, one of the participants. I'd like to share about one thing that it is very important for us as teacher. It is very basic, fundamental, but sometimes it is forgotten. So here I'd like to share the screen. I was involved in the teacher program in batch 7 in 2019. From January to February, there are 9 students from all from some university in Indonesia who get there in USD Manila. We were so happy there. We have a lot of inspiration. We get a lot of knowledge. We learn a lot because the curriculum, the teaching style there in Indonesia is quite different in some aspects. So what I would like to tell you is about the connection between students and also the teacher. It has to be strong. Connection can improve the communication. Connection can reduce the stress issues in the classroom. The connection can improve the achievement of students during learning and teaching process. Because what um, my associate professor Pilar Romero of the PhD said, that teaching is not only transmitting ideas from the teacher's mind to students, but it is a dialogue, which means that while the teaching and learning process, there's not only the students learn and the teachers teach. Not only like that, but there should be connection as a bridge for teachers to send, to transmit, to share what they know, to share the knowledge of them to the students for being achieved well. It also has been stated by Rita Pearson, which was a teacher in USA since 1972. She said in TED Talk that connection is an absolute importance between the teachers and students, that it will create a great achievement for the students. It will make the students and the teacher will come along um, together during the teaching and learning process and after the teaching and learning process, which means the teachers and the students will keep their relationship until the end of the day if the connection is strong between them. So not only about transmitting knowledge, not only about teaching materials, but the teachers also teach about lesson, life lesson. And while I was there, um, Sorin Rivera, who was an English teacher in UST Junior High School, he emphasized that the connection also has to be built since the very first time or since the beginning of the teaching process. He said that I should at least know the first name of the students. He said that I at least have to know um, who is uh, this person, who is this person. I should, what is it, remind or yeah, I should memorize their name and their character and also their interests. On the other side, I, as the teacher, should tell them about who am I actually, about what is my interest, about what is my hobbies. So then the connection between the person to person, yeah, between the teacher and students personally will be built, and it is going to be strong and stronger later in the future if the connection is maintained. It was from Mr. Rivera. So in the process of teaching and learning, I and also Mr. Rivera create a new teaching way, which is team teaching. So here you can see Sarif is on the left side, and I was on the right side with two students. Here we talk or we teach model verbs, yeah, and the students are so excited. We can see that the connection between uh, Sarif and I is built, and then between Sarif and I and the students is also built. The connection between us are built together for the successful teaching and learning process. And I also have some um, good relationship with another what is it? Other persons which are who are Mr. Julio and yeah, and all the staff in the College of Education. And these are photographs of me and the students in the end of teaching period there. The students and I are like friends. It was because the recommendation or the suggestions from Surya to make the relationship between the students and I. And also, I have a recording, a video call of us in a month ago. You know that I was there that a year ago, more than a year ago. it almost 2 years. It is almost 2 years, but we still communicate. Okay, can you see the screen? Can you see? Anyone? Can see that I played a video. It was a month ago. It was a month ago. Month ago, I and students communicate through video calls in Facebook. So we keep the relationship, we keep the connection because teacher and students are actually has to be one thing. I mean, teacher and students has to be united for the successful of learning teaching process or the successful of so everyone, happy Teachers Day. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ramdani. STKIP Pamane Talino is our partner academic institution in Ngabang, Landak Regency, West Kalimantan, Indonesia. It was in academic year 2019-2020 when the Memorandum of Agreement between our academic institutions was forged with the aim of mutual development in the teacher education program. Last July 14, 2020, a joint online conference with the theme Resetting the World or Reprogramming Education, Responding to Pandemic and Past Pandemic Educational Scenarios was organized, in which administrators from both institutions shared their expertise on addressing the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. Let us now listen to Dr. Albert Rufinus, Director of the STKIP Pamane Talino.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear honorable and distinguished dignitaries, lecturers and audience, good morning. Bravo, happy World Teachers Day. I am Albert Rufinus, lecturer and director of Pamane Talino College of Education. To let you know, since early April 1983, I've been teaching the English language in the university for more than 30 years and have had hundreds of English graduates as now teachers, administrators, business doers, or private and government officers. Since July the 1st, 2018, I've been assigned lecturer, and from May the 1st, 2019, also director of Pamane Talino College of Education. It is such an interesting opportunity to have such an experience in that the students are enthusiastic to go to college, complete their study, and assuring to get better life for their future. In spite of that, I find out the majority of the students are still unconfident, worried about their study and financial support. Many of them come from the villages, remote areas that they should fight and work hard to go to good education centers. Formerly, it was a difficult time for the institutions and the foundation to settle down big problems in certain areas, as in teaching, learning, research and social services, in financial supports and management system. Of this very challenging time, however, since August 2018, when the college was supervised and held by the Archbishop Diocesan and carried out by Dominican Order plus Passionist Congregation Foundation, we are happy and much happier to let you know our dedication and profession as lecturers, directors, and administrators are successful in learning and facilitating the enthusiastic students. In Pamanithalino College of Education, to mention some of the others, the new students are increasing. In 2018, there were 55 freshmen who registered, and in 2019, 111 freshmen, and now there are 198 students, new students, who registered for their academic year in 2020. Then, the students' GPA are getting better and better, averagely moving up from below 3 toward 3.30, and within 3 years' time, we have had 505 alumni and still about 165 graduates to come in this academic year of 2020-2021. For this 165 graduates will have their graduation day in next February 2021. At the same time, we will also have our new campus initiated and operated. Thanks be to God. More importantly, we are happy to say that close to 75% of the students are competent and able to win the scholarship from the government, senators, and church. As for this new normal pandemic COVID-19, we know it has made learning shifted from social to individual and virtual change. Teaching learning activities change from class or mass to more individual mode. The students learn more individually through the curriculum, resources, and needs of higher speed to compete with the so-called smart virtual or internet access speed. It's a high challenging time to learn through this new normal for higher education as for our College of Education Pamanithalino. Owing to some problems of facilities, happily, classes are becoming better used to learning strategies through online. The classes in Pamanithalino College of Education now is moving up. We are happy for this. Thank you. Adil Kak Talino, Bachelor Kak Saruga, Basengat Kak Jubata. Dependent to heaven, adoring to God the Almighty. May God bless us all. Stay healthy and good morning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rufinus. Indeed, your golden nuggets of wisdom as a seasoned educator will inspire our pre-service teachers to love the teaching profession, and for our seasoned educators, an articulation of the intersection and affirmation of our experiences as teachers. Our next speaker is also from STKIP Pamane Talino. She is currently the English Study Program Coordinator. Join me in welcoming Ms. Trifonia Wanda Giovanni.
Adil Katalino Bacuramin Kasaruga Basengat Kajubata. Yours sincerely to the Honorable Chancellor of the University of Santo Tomas Manila. Yours sincerely to the Honorable Head of STKIP Pamane Talino. And my greeting to all of the honorable teachers and lecturers who are attending on this insightful opportunity. I would like to express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity given to me to share my experience and impressions while teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Wanda Giovanni. I am usually called as Miss Wanda by my students. I started teaching in 2014. I started teaching at one of the private junior high schools in my village, namely Gotong Royong Raba Junior High School. Then I also taught at Toho Public Junior High School and Menjalin Public Senior High School. When I taught at these three schools, I found that my students used to have difficulty in learning English. They still couldn't use technology to help them to understand English lessons. It was because the internet network in their school didn't exist yet. Not to mention that poverty was still a barrier for them to have gadgets that can support them to learn English. They were very dependent on their teachers. At that time, the independence in learning was still very low and quite concerning. It was not only the lack of gadgets, even printed books for learning English were still inadequate. The number of English teachers who can teach at that time was also very low. At that time, there were only a few bachelors from the English Language Education Study Program, while the number of children who were attending school continued to increase. At that time, I felt that being a teacher, especially English teacher, was very difficult. And I used to have a dream that the number of English teachers in my village should be sufficient one day. That's why I decided to go back to college to continue my master's degree so that I can become a lecturer who can produce English teachers in the future. Long story short, I am a lecturer at STKIP Pamane Talino in Landak Regency, Ngabang City. When I first taught at this campus, there was a feeling of pride in my heart because I had succeeded in becoming a lecturer. Even though at that time there were still many negative thoughts from the society towards STKIP Pamane Talino, but I was still proud because I succeeded in realizing my dream to become a lecturer for aspiring English teachers in my area. Despite that I know that the campus where I teach now is not as big as nor as famous as other campus in big city, I am still very excited to teach my students. I assume that they are all high school graduates. My expectation is that teaching them will not be as difficult as what I did for junior or senior high school students in my hometown. And it's actually true. Teaching college students is not as difficult as teaching school students. They can understand my explanation and instruction easily. At that time, teaching and learning process was still in regular way. It was face-to-face. I was very happy when I interacted directly with my students in my class. Teaching feels more active and vibrant. If my students had difficulty understanding the material, they immediately ask me, and I can quickly respond to all of their questions. Discussion among students also ran smoothly. They often asked and answered questions and provided suggestions and input to each other. Those were happy days in my teaching life. I enjoyed interacting directly with my students in my class. However, all that has changed since the end of March 2020. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, face-to-face classes must be eliminated for a quite long time, even until now. Suddenly, my students and I were forced to continue our teaching and learning through an online platform. At that time, my students were not familiar with Google Classroom, Zoom, or any other online learning platform. All they know is the WhatsApp group. So, at that time, I could only provide learning material from the WhatsApp group. Although previously my students are quite accustomed with WhatsApp groups, they were still not accustomed in using it as a platform for learning. I've had so many difficulties. My students cannot simultaneously access WhatsApp. There were often delays in providing responses to the material I gave to them. It made the discussion that previously went smoothly in face-to-face classes cannot be reached anymore. The environment of my online class in that time was like an opposite environment of my face-to-face class. Due to the pandemic, most of my students returned to their hometowns or villages. This worsened the situation for my online class because in their village, my students have no good internet connection. I also complained to them. I asked them, why can't you be active in my online class? Why do you often skip the online class? Why are you often late for the class? They answered it with a kind of similar answer, that it was difficult for them to get good internet connection. And there were those who answered that even though they have good connection, they did not have sufficient internet quota. At first, I accepted their reasons. But slowly I get them understanding that it is not only them as college students who are in trouble during this pandemic, but everyone. There is not a single person who is not affected by this pandemic. No one wants a teaching and learning system like this, especially schools in rural and small town areas such as in Ngabang, where the internet facilities are not yet good enough. It is very difficult at first, because their mindset also does not fully understand that online class is actually an official class. They are not in holidays, so that they can easily go home and forget their obligations as college students. Apart from that, I also gave them an understanding that it would be a huge loss if they do not attend online class, because they just waste their time and right to get an education. I repeatedly remind them that if they do not attend online class, it is not a loss for me as their lecturer, but a loss for themselves alone as students. For the reinforcement and motivation, I always remind them that everyone feels burdened by this COVID-19 pandemic, so that my students do not feel that difficulties only belong to themselves as college students. So they can learn to be grateful, not giving up on this situation. I always remind them that there are still many children around us who are not fortunate enough to experience college life, to experience higher education. How ungrateful they will be if they waste their opportunity to get higher education just because they give up on taking online class. Day by day, week by week, finally my students can get accustomed to online learning. Their motivation has been returned. They finally understood that taking online learning is just as important as taking face-to-face learning as they got before the pandemic. And no, our learning platform is not only on WhatsApp group anymore, but also on Google Classroom. Although there are still problems from the students in accessing the platform, but over time, most of them understand and can study through Google Classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, although at first it was very difficult for me to teach my students online learning, Everything can be resolved if students are always given motivation. Because basically, the problem is in the student's mindset. As a lecturer, it is important to strengthen them so that they can remain enthusiastic to join online learning in difficult times like today. I think that's all from me. Once again, I would like to say that we are so grateful for this sharing session. I hope that our story of online teaching and learning in STKIP Pamanet Talino can be a meaningful sharing for all of the participants in this spiritual celebration. Happy International Teachers Day. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Giovanni. Indeed, your story of success and resiliency as a teacher showcases the motivation, determination, and drive of every teacher to be the best version of himself for his students, even during these difficult times. Ayan, so let us acknowledge the presence of our viewers who are still active, who are still with us. Yan. So thank you very much for viewing. Thank you very much for your greetings. Happy World Teachers Day, everyone. At this point, let us welcome back Dr. Azwanda Bari, the Vice Dean for Student Affairs and International Relations, and the C-Teacher Coordinator of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, University of Bengkulu, Indonesia. I think Dr. Azwandi Bari is just having a slight technical difficulty, so let's just wait a while. Thank you for your patience. Okay. At this point, we'll just proceed first to the awarding of certificates to our international speakers. The citation reads, University of Santo Tomas College of Education awards this certificate of recognition to Mr. Teguram Dani for sharing his time and expertise as speaker in the 2020 Knowledge Exchange Series World Teachers Day virtual celebration live streamed via the UST College of Education YouTube channel on the 5th day of October in the year of our Lord 2020. Signed, Associate Professor Pilar I. Romero, LPT PhD, Dean, Reverend Father Maximo P. Gatella, OPPHL, Regent. The same citation goes to Dr. Albert Rufinus and Ms. Trifonia Wanda Giovanni. Congratulations and thank you very much. The College of Education, a center of excellence in teacher education, advocates for inclusivity. It is in this light that our Knowledge Exchange Series, World Teachers Day 2020, a celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator, has the inset frame for our sign language interpreters, whom we would also like to recognize through a certificate of appreciation. The citation reads, University of Santo Tomas College of Education awards this certificate of appreciation to Ms. Anne Margaret Mahinan, LPT, for sharing her time and expertise as sign language interpreter in the 2020 Knowledge Exchange Series World Teachers Day virtual celebration live streamed via the UST College of Education YouTube channel on the 5th day of October in the year of our Lord 2020, Signed, Associate Professor Pilar I. Romero, LPT PhD, Dean, Reverend Father Maximo Pigatella, OP PHL, Regent. Same citation goes to Miss Anne Therese Casala, LPT. Congratulations and thank you very much. The stories of success that resonate the celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator bring us all together with a common vision, mission, goal, and objective as purveyors of truth and light. Our dear students, to whom we direct all our efforts, love, and dedication as teachers, have prepared these presentations as an affirmation of the significant impact we have made in their formation as competent, committed, and compassionate citizens of the world. Join me as we welcome our dear students.
Adil Kak Talino, Bacuramin Kak Saruga, Basengat Kak Jibata. Hello, full all my friends in University of Santo Tomas, Manila. I'm Elizabeth Nanda Ayu, as a student of English Language Education Study Program at Pamane Talino College of Education. Now, I'm on 5th semester student. And today, I want to sharing about my experience on learning during the pandemic. That as we know, since the advent of coronavirus and it bring the pandemic on our work, we must to work from home and study from home. At first, I was very confused by the learning system that is changing so quickly. Previously, I studied in college by meeting with the lecturers and my friends, and then I can carry out the organization activities directly. But since the pandemic, it's all been online. Nonetheless, I still try to follow the learning well. Likewise, an organization activities such as the online competition or the webinar, I still try to keep up. Sometimes, there are troubles to carrying out the learning and organization activities. The problems like the internet signals where I'm used. So, when I have to follow online class through Zoom application or Google Meeting, for example, I cannot join the class and just read the material on WhatsApp group. I was not the only one who had this experience. So many of my friends must to be climbing the hill in the forest and build the cottage to get a signal for study. Besides on signal problems, technical problems also dominate on online learning. Teachers, lecturers, and students, there are still a lot of ignorance about technology. It is because not accustomed to using an online learning application. However, online learning has a positive effect for me. The first, that I can be better using the technology. Now, I know more about application and the web to access the material to learning in the class. In addition, I was to be dependent person because always really bilateral explanation on the class. And now I can be independent person. It also had a very big impact on myself. When I try to find the material on own and understand the topics, it makes me remember the learning for the longer time. Then online learning also gave me a creativity and self-confidence. For example, since I was unable to meet my lecturer directly, I had make a video to fulfill my task. And when I taking a video and uploading them to social media, for example, I takes a self-confidence. And before I upload the video, I also needed the editing. So I went back to learning how to use the technology. Okay friends, it's all from my experience. Thank you for watching my video. Adil Kak Talino, Bacuramin Kak Saruga, Basengat Kak Jibata.
Thank you very much, dear students. From the bottom of our hearts, we love you. Your gesture of thankfulness and gratitude invigorates us to do our best as your mentors, teachers, and formators. May I now call on Associate Professor Andres Julio V. Santiago Jr., LPT PhD, Chairperson, Secondary Education Department, for his closing remarks.
Magandang umaga and mabuhay. Persian poet Khalil Gibran writes about teachers. No man can reveal to you aught but which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you to enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. We are coming together as a community of teachers. Lead us and invigorate us as we journey, experience, and celebrate the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator. May the objectives of this first Knowledge Exchange series, in commemoration of the National Teachers Month and the World Teachers Day, articulate to our professional development as agents of positive change in our society. Bring from this celebration the golden nuggets of wisdom that our esteemed teachers have shared with you, and make them points for your reflective practice. May this commemoration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator strengthen our competence, commitment, and compassion as we perform our duties and responsibilities, as we mold our beloved students as servant leaders, effective communicators and collaborators, analytic and creative thinkers, and lifelong learners. Once again, happy National Teachers Month and World Teachers Day to everyone.
And thank you very much, Dr. Santiago. We would also like to thank our beloved dean and our supportive regent for being with us in this occasion, and our EdTech, especially Sir Arthur, for his support in this endeavor. But wait, there's more, so we still have to watch this. So take a back seat and let's watch this special something that the students prepared for the teachers.
Dear teacher, like a notebook, you have helped us discover our power to fill each blank page with magic, whether it be our skills, interests, dreams, or doodles. You have encouraged us to claim our space and to fill it with experiences that tell the story of who we are and who we are becoming. Thank you for being with us as we turn each page of our story and for being the biggest supporters in our unique tales. Like a ruler, you lead us in every direction we take. Though each of us have different paths, you remain steadfast in ensuring that we explore the journey ahead on our own, because you believe that we can do so. Thank you for being one of the bridges to our future. We truly admire your dedication to teach and to change lives forever. Like a pencil, you are part of the story we're writing. After all, you were the one who taught us how to write in the first place. Your guiding hands have empowered us to read, write, draw, and create a world where we have a voice, and that we have a voice that matters. Thank you for showing us that each letter, stroke, and sketch are a representation of our progress, and that even if we make mistakes along the way, we can always learn to acknowledge them and to start over at our own time and pace. Like crayons, you inspire us to celebrate our colors in life. Thank you for seeing us as we are. Your bright smiles, effortless confidence, and unconditional patience bring color to our days that seem most daunting. In a time when we can only see you through a screen, Know that we get the most strength from you. Thank you for continuing to learn and adapt to the world just to provide us with the magic of your teaching. We see you, we love you, we celebrate you, we are proud of you.
Happy Teachers Day!
Thank you very much, dear students. And as math teachers put it, God bless you to the nth power. At this juncture, may I inform our audience that accomplishing the post-event evaluation by accessing the link and QR code appearing in your screen will generate and send to your email address the e-certificate for this event. We now sing the hymn of the University of Santo Tomas. Once again, this is the QR code and the link for your evaluation. You have at least 1 hour to, I think you have 1 hour to accomplish this. So kindly complete the evaluation form through this link or QR code within 1 hour only. Thank you very much, everyone, for making our virtual celebration of World Teachers Day 2020 a celebration of the honor, prestige, and joys of being an educator a success. Happy World Teachers Day!